If you'd told me 5 years ago that I'd be doing all of this, I would have laughed. I would have cried. Full-time employee, full-time caregiver, managing a household, managing this YouTube channel, taking care of a dog and a cat. But here's what I've learned. Sometimes we wait to have the confidence, the time, the energy. But what if the secret is stepping in before we're ready? Before the stars and planets all align. Just doing it, even when we're afraid or uncertain, or we've convinced ourselves that we're just too busy. I'm here today to convince you that you can add that one more thing to your life, that one thing that you've always wanted, that one thing that you've told yourself you don't have time for, that one thing that you've told yourself maybe someday, but you've got to do it with your eyes open, because there are things to watch out for. And that's why I'm here today, and I'm going to tell you how to make it happen. Okay, point number one is I just want to share a little bit of my own personal journey. When I was a kid, when I was younger, I embraced my laziness. I mean, it was even kind of a family joke. My family would be amused that I would go to such great lengths to avoid doing things that I needed to do. And honestly, up until my late 40s, I had sidestepped most of the grown-up responsibilities. I wasn't married, I didn't have kids, I didn't own a home, and I was completely fine with all of that. But right about the time I'm turning 50, all of a sudden I became a full-time caregiver. And I really believed that my carefree life, the one that I had built and loved, was officially over. I grieved that life, and I started blaming this new role for everything that I couldn't do. In 2023, I lost my dog, Riley. And because of that event, a sadness came over me that I hadn't really experienced before. And even though I sorely missed having a dog, I had convinced myself that there was no way that I could bring a puppy inside the home. I mean, working full-time, caregiving, who would be that crazy? But after several months, I thought, am I really going to let my obligations dictate to me what kind of life I get to have or not have? Am I just going to exist, or am I going to live? So 18 months ago, I brought home a puppy, Benji, 7 weeks old. And yes, it was hard. My back was sore for 2 months from all the bending and lifting. I had bruises all over my shins from, straddling and jumping over gates and baby gates and barriers. And then, of course, all of those middle of the night accidents that you've got to get up right then and clean up. But between all of that, I fell head over heels in love with this little dog. And I had zero regrets about bringing him into my life. And I believe that in standing up for what I wanted, whether I thought I had the time or the ability or not, it flipped a switch in me. Because 8 months after bringing Benji home, I decided to start this YouTube channel. I think it was the matter of just getting used to saying yes and getting out of the habit of always saying no. And it started this momentum in my life that I'm still riding on today. And I had come to a point in my life where I decided that I needed a boss. And there was no one else better for that job than me. I became the boss of my life, and I haven't looked back. Okay, the second point I want to make is, how does all of this apply to you? I shared my story because I want you to see that I don't possess any superpowers. I don't have some naturally industrious or go-getter personality. In fact, I was a master at making excuses and pretending to be busy just to avoid real effort. But you may be very different from me. Maybe you've always been diligent and responsible. Maybe you took on major responsibilities early in life. And now here you are in midlife, still longing to do something that's been on your heart for a while, and yet you can't see how it would possibly fit into your life. Now, whether you fall more towards my personality, the other extreme, or somewhere in between, here's the truth. You don't magically become more capable, and time doesn't magically appear. What does happen is that you get more focused, you get more determined, like I did, and you decide what matters enough to make room for. And no, I won't sugarcoat it. Things won't just fall into place. In fact, when you take on something new or you add something else to your plate, the universe will throw all kinds of things at you to challenge you right out of the gate. You'll get frustrated, you may yell, you may cry, you'll even doubt yourself completely. But somewhere in the back of your mind, you'll remember your commitment. You'll know how fast life has flown by already. And you'll ask yourself, if not now, when? You'll do what I did. You'll put your foot down. You'll say enough is enough and become the best boss you've ever had. Okay, point number 3 is nothing good in life comes free. So you've made the decision. No more excuses. No more I'm not ready paralysis. You're going to start the business. You're going to take that promotion. You're going to take on a more major role in your grandkids' lives. You're going to adopt that puppy. Start that hobby. Whatever it is, you're ready. You've decided. And you've already come to terms with giving up your leisure time to make this happen. No more mindless scrolling. No more couch potato marathons. You're okay with being out of the loop on the latest TV show. And that's a great start. It is. But I'm going to challenge you. Because if that's all you're giving up, you've probably got a lot more room to stretch than you realize. It's okay to start there, but don't stop there. Because the truth is real growth costs something. You'll know you're in the right zone when other things start to matter less. That spotless house, now it doesn't seem quite as urgent. The perfect hair or makeup, not as high a priority. You find yourself saying, that's good enough, more often, and you really mean it. And strangely, that's when you start realizing that you're in the sweet spot. Because chances are, that stuff wasn't really that important anyway. You're letting go of perfection so you can lean more into purpose in your life. But here's the reality, because when you take on something more in your life, something else is going to feel the strain, always. And if there's a weak link in your life, a fragile relationship, a job you're barely holding on to, a health issue that you've been ignoring, that is exactly where the pressure is going to show up. So yes, I am saying, don't wait forever. I am saying, don't make any more excuses. Jump in. But if there is a major area of your life like that is struggling, an important part of your life, then take a pause for a minute. If your marriage is shaky, work on that. If your health is declining, prioritize that. Strengthen your foundation so that you can build more on top of it. But if the weak link is something that you do want to change, like a dead-end job, or an over-reliant adult child that drains your energy, then maybe this is the catalyst to make some changes there. You've got to suss this out for yourself because you're the boss now. Now, my fourth point is that I want to encourage you. I want to tell you what side benefits will happen Now, when you first take on something new, whether it's a responsibility, a dream, a goal, a side gig, you may not see any benefits at first, only the drawbacks. But that's totally normal. You'll feel tired, maybe even resentful. That's normal too. But if you stay committed, something incredible starts to happen. You begin to actually discover what really, really matters in your life. And see, this is the part that's really surprised me, because it's opened my eyes, and I can kind of look back a little bit and think, all the time I used to spend on things now that seem meaningless to me. The things that are just busy work or time fillers, they start falling away. Because now that time is going towards something that does matter to you. Take house cleaning, for example. At first, it used to really bother me that I didn't clean the house the way I used to. I used to take a day out of my weekend or a half a day out of my weekend and just devoted to this routine list I had in my head of cleaning, whether it needed it or not. I look back now and realize that most of it was overkill. What you'll do is you'll create new systems for getting things done. And you probably would have never taken the time or gotten creative enough to think of these systems before. But now it's kind of necessary. If you're going to do this thing that you want to do, then you got to figure out a better way to get these other things done. And you will. I've also learned to kind of step back a little bit from helping my mom. I kind of encourage her now to do a few things for herself instead of me just swooping in all the time to do it for her because I could get it done faster. Maybe for you, you'll find yourself streamlining your morning routine. No more dawdling, no more distractions. You'll get it done, but it'll just be faster and more efficient. But the benefits won't just be time savings or better systems. You'll discover that life is more fulfilling. You'll be in a better mood. You'll sleep better. You'll have more energy because of it. Instead of feeling flat all the time, you're going to start experiencing highs, moments of joy, moments of creativity, connection. You'll have more interesting things to talk about with your friends and your family. You might even make new friends or build a community based on what you've taken on. In other words, you're going to start seeing the beginnings of the fruit of your labor. Well, what else? Maybe you start paying off your debt. Maybe you start saving more to retirement because what you've taken on is bringing in an income. Or maybe not. Maybe no income. Maybe you just find that you're spending less on things like entertainment or shopping or video games. That was a really bad wink, I know. But wait, there's more. You want to buy self-confidence? You want to go out to a store and buy self-confidence off the shelf? Well, then you've found a way to do it by taking something on. Consider it a done deal. Because when you start seeing yourself handling challenges, even small ones, your self-confidence goes through the roof. Because now you have evidence that you can do the hard things. It's amazing. And each time you succeed over that hurdle, it gets easier each additional time. I'm living proof of this. I didn't think I could survive being a caregiver. I didn't think I had it in me to raise a happy, well-behaved puppy. I definitely didn't think I could teach myself how to edit videos, manage a YouTube channel, or sit here like I am today talking to you. But here I am, and it happened one day at a time. One task, one challenge, one plate at a time. Life is a buffet, and you gotta walk up and pile up your plate. And everything you love gets eaten off of that plate. And, the broccoli stems, they kind of just fall by the wayside. My final point is how to get past the most common mental roadblocks. So by now, you've heard my story. I've made it clear. I don't have superpowers. I'm not special. I also warned you about the discouragement that's going to come in when you first start something new. I've also laid out the cost and what may get squeezed out. And I've shown you the surprising benefits. Some of them you may not even expect. So now the question is what is still standing in your way? Are you waiting to feel ready? Because the truth is you're not going to feel ready. It just doesn't work that way. Readiness shows up after you've taken it on. Are you in the habit of just saying no before even giving real thought to something? Just a reflexive, I can't, or maybe someday? I mean, be honest with yourself. Are you shutting things down before they have a chance to take root? Are you afraid of failing or looking silly, of starting and then quitting, or of what other people might think of you? Are you putting everyone else's needs ahead of your own? Or maybe you're putting all of your focus on some part of your life that you feel is slipping away. A job, a relationship, a version of yourself from 10 years ago. Maybe you're worried that if you grow, if you step up, if you take on something new, if you become stronger, that maybe the people around you, they may not like the new you. These are all valid thoughts. And if any of them resonate with you, then good. Because you're identifying right now your roadblocks. And that means that you are closer than ever to moving past them. Now, I will leave you with this. You don't have to fix everything before you begin. You just have to begin. Take the next small step, or maybe it's a big step, but take it. Be a boss. Be the boss of your own life. For me, I didn't get more hours in the day. I just got more serious about how I spend them. These days, my life feels more customized. My priorities feel more hand-picked. Ones that I fiercely protect, and I guard the time and the energy that it takes to keep them in my life. If this video helped you or gave you something to think about, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And if you're looking for just a little more encouragement or life wisdom from a Gen Xer that is trying to figure out her way, check out this video. I'll link right here. What it took me 50 years to realize. And if this is speaking your language, then hit the subscribe button. I make videos like this every week. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And this boy right here, he's the icing on the cake. Man, he can be a handful sometimes, but he's worth it.